I'm from Placentia Bay, Arnold's Cove in Placentia Bay. My uncle lived on one of the islands in Placentia Bay, and he was a school teacher there. He wrote this piece back in the 60s. Basically, it's a story of how what happens when a pretty young school teacher comes to visit an outward community. So call it the new school marm. You know, all the goings on these days reminds me when I was a young fella. About one time this pretty young school teacher comes to our place. Of course now all the boys wanted to get out with her, but I made up my mind, be hook or be crook, I was going to be the first one to have a smack at her. Now, just so happened that old Sam Smith over across the harbour was having a time in his store on the very night that she got there. And I was lucky, see, because the school marm was staying down at my Aunt Jessie's. So right after supper, I gets myself all slicked up, you know, and put a few nails in my pocket. You got to have something to jingle. Off I goes, largest life, down to my Aunt Jessie's. Now, boys, by the time I got down there, boy, I wasn't feeling quite so brave. See, I was only a young cracky myself then. Asking any girl out was a big deal. And this wasn't any girl. No, sir, this was the school marm. Anyway, by I got up enough nerve to go in, and somehow got around to asking her out, and sure enough, she agreed to go with me. So I waited around for a spell for her to get ready, and by the time she was ready, boys, it was near time to shove off too. So down we goes to the land wash. I lets the school marm get the dory before I hops in and shoves her off myself. And there we was, my son, rolling across the harbour. You talk about a feller proud. New school marm sitting after me dory. Lovely red dress and a brand new pair of rubber boots. Pretty as a picture. So he gets to Sam Smith's wharf, and of course I holds her on, and I lets the school marm climb up first. Now of course I looks the other way, because she's the school marm and I had to mind my manners. So he gets up to Sam Smith's store, and the party's in full swing. By the time we got there, boy, it wasn't long before we were kicking up our heels with the best of them too. By and by, I sees the school marm, and she's eyeing the boys and girls going outside in the dark. "Arm," says she. "Yes, ma'am," says I. "Terrible warm," says she. "Yes, ma'am," says I. "Let's go outdoors," says she. So outside we goes in the dark. Now, boy, I tell you, in that store it could get awful hot. But it could get awful hot out back in that store too. but she was the school marm, and I had to mind my manners. A little while later, school marm thinks, "Well, I'll go home." So down we goes to the wharf, and I hops in the dory. School marm says to me, "Harm," says she. "Yes, ma'am," says I. "Would you let me help you row?" So I shoves over and passes the school marm the other over. Now, to that day to this, boys, to tell you the truth, I don't know if that school marm knowed how to row or not. Because the next thing I know, we're high and dry on the beach over beneath the mountains. Now, I gets up to shove off the dory. School marm puts her hand on my knee. "Arm," says she. "Yes, ma'am," says I. "I wonder if the grass wet." "The guard now," says I believe she's trying to tell me something. She was a school marm, and I had to mind my manners. So anyhow, we goes ashore, and we walked around for a spell, had a fine yarn, we sat down. And by this time it was near coming on daylight. And the flies, my son, the flies was as thick as a round of lassie cake. And by and by, this one big fly come pitched down her knee. "Hiram," says she. "Yes, ma'am," says I. "Wouldn't you like to be that fly?" "The girl now," says I, "she is trying to tell me something. And school marm or not, this is not the time for manners." Anyhow, a fortnight or so after that, I suppose, I was lying in my bed, mulling over some of the things that I heard the women talking about. It seems that school marm was wonderful strict down at the school. She sent one young fella home for 3 days because he seen her ankle. She sent another young whippersnapper home for a week because he seen her knee. As I rolls over in my bed to go to sleep, I thinks to myself, there's one thing for sure, Hiram boy, you'll never have to go to school again.